Hello, my name is Richard. I come from Melbourne, Victoria. I've got a WK2 Grand Cherokee diesel, which I'm using for off-roading and also a bit of touring work. Great tow vehicle, very comfortable, quite capable. It's got the drawback it has with it is it has the spare wheel mounted in the boot under the carpet. Now there are other four-wheel drives out there that share the same design. Pretty poor design, to be honest with you. Now a lot of the aftermarket rear bar manufacturers have dealt with that by putting the spare wheel, as this one is, on a swing out on the back, which is a great design. Gets it out of the way, means that you can use your boot for what you really need to put in there. Now the drawback with that one is this particular car, the WK2, has a very flimsy floor. The floor is a piece of wood, carpeted wood. Sits on plastic and some very flimsy bits of tin plate. It certainly wouldn't take the weight of a draw system over bumps, it would collapse. The tie down points that are in there are really of an afterthought. They're not designed, they're probably designed for a cargo net for your shopping, not really designed to hold down a draw system. So the screws that hold the tie down points down are no more than 3mm. And they're just self-tappers, go straight into plastic. So of course that then leaves you with a problem, and the problem is if you're going to put a draw system in this car, you do need to make sure that the draw system is bolted down to something solid. You're going to need to build yourself a subframe. The subframe itself will need to be bolted hard to the floor of the vehicle, and with mine I've designed one for my car, and what I made it from is a bit of this. This is 19mm mild steel box section. It's good and strong. If you make it and weld it together, it will support the weight, no problems at all. Now the next thing is, once you've bolted it down, of course your draw system is now bolted hard to the floor, and that's fantastic. However, you did have an area that was big enough to hold this spare wheel. Well, you can't access it now because your spare wheel, your draw system is now bolted down on top of it. So that would leave you with quite a lot of wastage, and that kind of that bothered me when I was looking at this. And I thought, no, I don't want to waste that area. That's massive. If you've looked in the boot of one of these, you've got the massive spare wheel. You've got 4 pockets all the way around it. It's a huge amount of wasted space. So what I did is I designed something myself just to be able to put a draw system in there, hinge it up, and gain access to the area underneath. It's enabled me to put in a dual battery system, so I've got a 105 amp hour deep cycle AGM battery in there. I haven't yet connected up the electrics for that. I'm still in the process. I've only just finished with the draw system, but what it will have is it will have a projector DC-DC charger controlling it. I've built myself a switch panel, which I will show you shortly, which is going to control all of my electrics there. I've designed myself and built myself a camp light for the back of the car. That's going to have a switch in there and be connected through to that, so that when we're out camping we'll be able to switch on the lights and be able to see what we're doing. My compressor will be going in there. I have a Pressure Perfect system, which if any of you guys have seen it, it's pretty amazing. Basically a little control box. It gives you the same kind of thing that you see at servos, which is where you just put the pressure into the digital readout. This will do 2 tyres at the same time, so you plug the 2 tyres onto your tyres, and it will either deflate or inflate to whatever pressure you've preset into it. When it's chucking it down with rain, and quite often it is Melbourne, it's a godsend. You can just get out, whack it onto your tyres, sit in the car and wait for it to beep. Once it beeps, you jump out, do the other 2. It's as easy as that. But that is going to require me to do a little bit of plumbing work in there, route the pipe work and get it working. But once that's done, I will post a video to show you what I've done and how. But right now, let's take a look at the draw system and the hinge mechanism. So let's open the back of the car up. Okay, so what you see here is we got a pair of 900mm Titan drawers. These come from the Super Centre. Now I'm not saying they're the best quality drawers in the world, certainly not. But for the money, and I believe they were about $360, $380, you seriously, you can't make drawers that are to this quality for this sort of money. They're good strong drawers, they're full roller, they're steel, and they're not excessively heavy. Certainly the last set of drawers I actually made, which cost me over 500 bucks, made out of plywood, 12mm ply, thousands of screws holding it together, a lot of carpet, weighed a lot more than these. So, you know, for my reckoning, I think they're good value for money. They do, however, need to be bolted down properly. So what I've done is I've built myself a little catch mechanism at the front here, which is two little safety catches, which you pull out, and then I just lift. There we go. So what we've got, the two drawers on there, held up with a couple of gas rams. These gas rams are available from Bunnings, and I believe they were about $11 or $12 each. So I've got two of them. They're 650 Newton meter gas rams, and clearly they're more than powerful enough to lift up the drawer system. This drawer system on this side is actually full of tools, so there is a fair amount of weight in there. I wasn't actually expecting it to be able to lift it and hold it up quite as easy as this. I mean, you know, it's a lot stronger than I thought it would be, but you can get even more powerful gas rams if you've got a heavier setup than I have. So what have I done? Well, what I've done is I've built myself a metal frame. It's a complete box all the way around. It's all welded together, and then I've put myself some hinges on the back, across the back, and these are just normal door hinges welded to it, and then built myself a lid, which is under here, and I've bolted the drawer system to the lid, which is just basically a square steel box with a couple of steel runners at the right spacing for the drawer to be able to bolt onto. Couple of gas rams on there, a couple of catches on the front. Not saying it's the best way of doing it, I'm sure other people would find a different way of doing it, but it certainly works and it holds everything together. There's some foam across the top here because I didn't want any rattling when I'm going over corrugations, and there is no rattling, it's been pretty good. Over across the back is my, so this is just some of the stuff I put in there. This is the standard spare wheel jack and brace, which I've just put back in there for now. But then we've got our AGM battery at the back, which I built a separate frame, mounted it to the bottom, and welded in a battery tray to it as well, which is just a projector battery tray. Inside here is going to be all the wiring. I'm going to put some panels in here, carbon fibre panels, and put all the electrics to the side. And then the electrics will be run through, and they will join this carbon fibre switch panel which I've made. Now this switch panel has the advantage of being able to have dual voltages on the face of it. So I've got my auxiliary battery and my main battery that will be lit up here. Then we've got our two 12-volt outlets, one to run my fridge obviously, and one spare. I've got a travel buddy, so that one will come in handy for that. Up here we've got two USB outlets, a 2.1 and a 5 amp, so you can charge your phone up, iPads, anything that's USB chargeable. And then I've got a few, there's actually 5 switches there. These two I figure will control these two outlets. This one will control the USB. One of these will be my compressor, and this one will be my camp light on the back. So I've basically designed this panel to fit inside the boot on the Grand Cherokee. It's this little tub. It wasn't being used for a lot. It's actually on the left side of the car where the little torch is. So I figured to pop the plug out, pop this tub out, make myself something which fits perfectly over the top. And then I should just screw this straight in and remove that. So this bit can always go back in later if I want, but this fits in beautifully where that once lived. So it looks like it was factory, and with it being carbon fibre, it just makes it look a little bit flashier in the boot. And you can get the carbon fibre sheet. I think I paid about $15. It's 3mm thick. It's as strong as hell, and weighs nothing. So yeah, that's what I've done with it for now. As I've developed it and I've done the electrics, I will come back to this and I'll post that up just to let you know what's available. But anyone wishing to have a go at doing something like this themselves, anyone who wants to have some advice from me, or ask a question as to how did you do this, how did you work that out, feel free just to drop me a message on YouTube and I'll get back to you. Thanks for that.